Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kajira. I am the Silver Dragon Gamer. So today we're going to be continuing our series on The Legend of Zelda: How Strong Can We Get Link Without Doing Any Dungeons or Glitches? And this is part 2 of our Skyward Sword series. You can see we've safely landed on the ground outside of the sealed temple, and as Link jumps down, we're treated to yet another cutscene here. This cutscene features the same creature from Link's dream at the very beginning of the game. As you can see, Link freaks out a little bit, and then he steps up and looks down into this crater where he notices a strange object at the bottom, and our job is to get to the bottom. Now, I'm grabbing a few hearts here because I got the living snot smacked out of me by those plants earlier. So, once we get to the bottom, we see this spike here, and we have to use a Skyward Slash on it. That seems to drive away the darkness and opens up some flight points here from this area. And Fee tells us that we need to use our dowsing to try and find Zelda, which will obviously point us toward the first temple. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit odd, just a bit of allergies. The pollen in my area is kind of off the charts lately. Now, as we progress into the temple proper, we find the Old One sitting in the back. The Old One will greet Link and is glad that he has mastered the Skyward Strike already, and then moves on to inform Link that he has to move on deeper into Faron Woods and confront all of the monsters there. He also explains the ability to how to place a beacon on the map so that as we make our way, we can create our own waypoints. This feature is used extensively in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Once we finish there, we want to jump down and grab that bottle out of the chest to give us our second full bottle. This particular one happens to have a revitalizing potion already inside of it. Now we can exit the temple through the side door and step behind the temple here. We want to head down and jump off this ledge and confront the bokoblins who are attacking this Goron. This is the first real threat that we face in the game. The bokoblins actually have the ability to block your swings and can really be a pain to kill. But you should get used to fighting them, as later farming requires killing excessive amounts of them. Once saved, the Goron will unlock the ground bird statues, which all now have the ability to not only save, but also to send us back into the sky, and we don't want to do that just yet. We need to head deeper into Faron Woods itself, because we have a large amount of work that needs to be done here on the ground before we decide to go back up into the sky. As we zone into the area, Fee will greet us with a quick little overview of what the Faron Woods are and how they look, and then reveal them on our map. Now that this has been revealed, we need to proceed into the woods proper. We head across this chasm, being careful to avoid the sticky bombs hiding in the grass before chopping down some small trees, because we have to help this weird little bird thing called a Kikwi. Once more, we're confronted with some bokoblins, and once we beat them down, the Kikwi will stand up and we'll have a quick little conversation with him before he runs off, and we have to go try to catch him this time. As the bird plant thing runs deeper into Faron Woods, we have to continue following him. This is an interesting area to explore because of the mushrooms that grow here. If you have a mushroom that's kind of shimmering or glimmering, you can hit it and scoop up the spores it emits into an empty bottle. Now, the spores actually have several uses. You could dump them on an enemy to stun it, dump them on a bug to slow it down, dump them on a heart to get a pink fairy, dump it on a gossip stone to make it disappear and a new one spawn, dump it on a rupee to cause it to either change to a higher value, like from green to blue or blue to red, or it could cause a rupor to spawn, which is actually a rupee that will take your money from you. On the screen, we did eventually catch the Kikwi, and he told us about the Kikwi Elder, and Link agreed to go talk to the Elder to let him know that the Kikwi we caught named Maki is okay. Now we have to travel deeper into the woods, collecting monster parts and amber medallions as we go. These items are all used to upgrade your equipment or for selling for some easy rupees later on. Personally, I kind of like the crafting and upgrading system in this game. I haven't had a problem with it so far. Maybe it's just a throwback to the idea from when I used to play World of Warcraft and was an engineer and spent so long making bombs and traps in that game. Now, once we talk with the Kikwi Elder, Link is tasked with finding 3 more lost Kikwi and helping them to safety. They're scattered throughout Faron Woods, and we have to track each of them down. Now, the first one is over here, and it's being harassed by some bokoblins, so once we easily dispatch them and send them on into whatever afterlife bokoblins have, he's sitting up there in the tree, but he's afraid to get down. So what we have to do is ram the tree, knocking him down, and the vine down that we will use to exit this particular area. And now with Lopsa the Kiwi safe on the ground, we can finally climb this vine here and swing over onto this ledge to get out of this particular area. One thing I have found in this game that I really enjoy is the stumps that they put in that you can sit on to heal yourself. I find that to be a very interesting and intriguing idea for the game, and I kind of like it in a 3D game. It helps with the healing so it doesn't become so tedious sometimes when you're trying to recover some health and maybe got really, really low and are struggling to get hearts. I think it's an intriguing idea, and I kind of like it. I did neglect to mention that Fee also gave us a new dowsing ability to help find the lost Kiwis. This is particularly useful because some of them are in some weird places, like this one up here on this little cliffside. To get him to talk to us, we have to knock down the majority of the grass here before he'll finally stop crawling around and pretending to be a chunk of grass, and eventually will talk to us. This Kiwi's name is Urla, and it thought it had a great hiding place up here on this cliffside until we uncovered everything and made it stop and talk to us. Now that the second one is found, we have only one more to track down. We have to go through that passage, up on that ledge, and past the Deku Baba, continuing on around and dropping down into the hole. Once we do that, we just wander on around, and there's the Kiwi pretending to be a plant. Once we try to pick it, it'll pop up and go, "Oh, please don't eat me," and it's Ula, the last of the Kiwis. This brings out Fee, telling us to go back and talk to the Kiwi Elder for our reward. From Ula's position, we have to make our way back through all of Faron Woods, using the log shortcuts we had been creating as we moved through the woods the first time. This makes it much quicker to get back to the Elder. Once we get to him, he's excited that we've freed all of his fellow Kiwis, and he's going to lay down then on the ground and reward us with the slingshot. As soon as he lays down, Link can run up onto his back and grab the item. It's a very handy tool to have and can be used to knock down bugs and stun enemies. However, we're going to use it to knock down a coiled vine so that we can swing across and head back to the waypoint that's outside of the deep woods. Along the way though, there is a heart piece that we want to grab off of the large central tree. It's located across this tightrope, which makes for a small little mini game as Link has to keep his balance while crossing or he falls into the pond below. Piece in hand, we can head back to the actual waypoint. Along the way, there's not much to really do other than just run up here. Once we get there, there's another coiled vine that we have to knock down, and then we can swing up onto here, and this gives us our first access to the deep woods, which is an interesting place because it has probably the best farming location this early in the game. However, at this point, we're still trying to unlock a few things before we mess around and do too much farming. As we continue down the path, dealing with bees and bokoblins both, we come across another tightrope. This one's guarded by a bee's nest hanging in the tree. It's easily dealt with just by shooting it into the chasm. I ran backwards a little bit to get the bees to kind of despawn and not path onto Link. We continue on down past the bokoblin and run into a Deku shrub. These can either have the pellets bounce off your shield to get them to stun or just use the slingshot. Those are two easy ways to deal with the Deku shrubs. Now it's along a cliff and onto yet another tightrope, this time with a bokoblin and some spiny bombs. Just use the slingshot to knock the bombs off, and then lure the bokoblin out onto the rope and shoot him. That'll knock him off as well. And then we use the vine to try to swing across, and then we get up and we jump onto the vine and we go to swing across one more time, and so let's try this a third time and see what happens. Hey, we made it across this time. Now we're confronted by a gold Deku Baba. This one's very different than the other ones that we've confronted so far, because it can open its mouth in either direction, and Deku Babas in this game can only be injured in the direction that they happen to be open. So if they have a vertical slit, you have to use a vertical slice. If they have a horizontal slit open, you have to hit them horizontally. With the wonky combat in this, it made the fight a lot harder than it really should have. So, and it's on to talk to this Goron standing by this odd cube. Goron will explain to us that this is a goddess cube, and that goddess cubes can only be activated with the goddess sword using the Heaven Strike. So once we power one up and cut loose, this will cause the goddess cube to vanish from here, and it'll reappear somewhere in the sky, which we'll be able to go back and retrieve the cube later because it will open up a chest that we could later get. Now that we've activated the cube, we have to go back and choose Sky from the bird statue. This will launch us upwards where Link is caught by his loft wing, and it's off to Pumpkin Landing to find the chest that can now be accessed and see what's inside of it. The chest is located around the side of the giant pumpkin. Once opened, it gives us the second adventurer's pouch, which unlocks the 5th slot in our item inventory. From here, we want to head inside the giant pumpkin for a few more items. This is an inn located inside of a giant hollowed out pumpkin. The first thing you notice is a heart piece on the chandelier. To get it, we need to head upstairs and roll into the railing twice in quick succession. This will cause the chandelier to crash down and dump all of its items off of it onto the floor, so that we can head back downstairs and grab our second heart piece. That in hand, we have to run around the outside of the chandelier and collect any rupees that fell off. We're heading to talk with the guy behind the counter to collect the pumpkin soup. The soup has to be delivered to the Knight Commander in 5 minutes or less, so there's no time to waste, but unfortunately there's no on-screen timer either. This soup really doesn't do much for us right now other than complete a short piece of a much longer trade line that'll have impacts later on in the game. So we jump on our loft wing and fly over as fast as we can to get back to Skyloft and try and land in the training grounds for the Commander. Once we go inside the hall, with plenty of time to spare, we deliver the piping hot pumpkin soup to our Knight Commander, and he chugs it down with much relish and glee. After that's done, we get our empty bottle back and we can head back outside to continue on. Our next step is to begin our upgrades. The first item needing upgraded is the shield. Most items and tools can be upgraded here at the scrap shop. This is located inside the bazaar. We have to give them to the gentleman here behind the counter along with some cash and certain monster parts, and he'll upgrade our items. The shield requires 2 amber relics, 1 monster claw, and 1 jelly blob, along with 30 rupees. Once we hand this over, he'll go back and go to work, and now once he's done, we will have a better wooden shield. This was the first Zelda game with durability and items, so when we all are complaining about that in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, we can thank Skyward Sword for this crappy mechanic. Across the way, we can also purchase a small seed pouch from this gentleman here at the market. The seed pouch can actually be upgraded twice to go to the medium seed pouch and then onto the large seed pouch, each time requiring more money and different monster parts. The small pouch holds 10 extra seeds, while the upgraded medium pouch holds 20 more seeds, and the large pouch holds 30. Technically, you could purchase multiple seed pouches and upgrade all of them to large, but at this point in the game, I really can only justify an upgrading 1 pouch to let me hold 60 seeds. Now, once I play the rest of the game, I might change my mind, but for now, 60 is plenty, and I really don't feel the need for anything excessive beyond that. Once we're done upgrading, there is a small mini game where some rupees could be farmed and even some monster parts farmed. It's shown here on the map on Bamboo Island, and it's called Clean Cut. From the loft wing, we just dive down onto the island and go inside what looks like a large bamboo stalk. I don't know what those weird little flying things are, but if anyone does, please let me know in the comments. I'm assuming it's something for later. Inside, we come across Peter, who's trying to get back into shape. He's doing this by trying to cut the center portion of bamboo as many times as possible before it hits the ground. Personally, I was only able to get to the first level of prizes, which is 30 rupees, and you have to get at least 15 cuts. If you manage to get to 20, you could get either a monster horn or an evil crystal. At 28, you're rewarded with a blue bird feather, a goddess plume, or a golden skull. And according to a gossip stone on the island, Peter has the record of 43, but there's no reward for beating that. It kind of feels like a bit of a missed opportunity. However, if you don't even succeed in getting to the minimum of 15, Peter will suggest a longer sword might help, so perhaps later on in the game, this might be a much easier goal to attain. Our next stop is to go get the second goddess chest. Now personally, I accidentally cut the footage where I activated the box below on the ground and then couldn't find it in a timely manner, but it is located here where you can see the dot on the map. I'm sorry for the blunder. We just have to take our loft wing over, dive off, and land on this island here, and then open the purple chest and retrieve our third heart piece of the run. From here on, we need to farm large amounts of rupees. The first method is just collecting bugs. There are various bugs that we picked up once you have the net from Beetle and sold to Stritch at night. These butterflies are very easy and plentiful to catch. Now the next method is smashing these pumpkins here and then going in and out of buildings to reset them. The various bugs you collect can be sold to Stritch in his room at night. His room is located in the training hall and is listed as Colin and Stritch. The trick is that he only buys 4 different kinds of bugs at a time. However, you can reset this by simply sleeping here in the bed until the next night, and that will reset the bugs that he wants. You might have to do this multiple times though to get all of the bugs that you're carrying sold. On screen you can currently see a list of all of the bugs that are in the game, approximately what areas you can find them in, and on the right hand side you can see the sell value to Strick. Currently at this point in the game, the best selling bug is the Starry Firefly, but that's actually a rare bug, so it's harder to find. Actually the best selling at this point is the Woodland Rhino Beetle at 20 and the Deku Hornet at 1. That seems like not a lot, but considering that you can carry 99 and catch 20 at a time, the Deku Hornets add up very quickly. Next way to make money is to sell monster parts to Rupin. His house is located under the bridge and there's a bed in it because he only buys at night. He has the same restriction that Stritch does in that he only buys 4 different parts on any given night, but can be reset by sleeping in the bed until the next night. Selling monster parts is very profitable, but it's much harder to do because the drops are much rarer than the bugs are. On screen you can see a breakdown of what each monster part fetches from Rupin when sold. The cheapest is 20 rupees, so if you have a lot of those items they tend to add up fast, but getting to a large quantity of those is actually a rarity instead of a proper farm. One of the best places to farm hornet larvae, ornamental skulls, golden skulls, Deku Hornets, and the Woodland Rhino Beetle is this first section of Deep Woods. There are 4 to 5 bokoblins that can drop the skulls. The tree has a hornet nest on it, and those hornets can be farmed for about 20 of them per run. You can knock it down for 1 to 2 of the larvae, and the tree generally has between 1 and 3 woodland rhino beetles. Oh, and there's a small section of birds that you can get feathers from there as well, so this makes for a really great farm. On to the final purchases from Beetle. These can be done in any order at any time you happen to have the cash, but I would recommend spending 100 rupees each for the 3 extra wallet upgrades as the first things you purchase from him after the bug net. Otherwise you won't be able to purchase the more expensive items because your wallet starts at 300 rupees and each additional wallet adds 300 to that limit. At Beetle's, you can also purchase 3 Adventurer's pouches from him to max out your carrying capacity at 8. There's also the Bug Medal, which will let you see the location of bugs on your map. And finally, the Life Medal, which will give you an extra heart. He also sells a heart piece after you purchase the Heart Medal, but it costs more than you can carry at this point in the game. Beetle does have one funny little interaction where if you come in and you look at an item without purchasing anything and try to leave, he will drop you right out of the bottom of his house. Now on screen you'll see a breakdown of what each of the items cost as you purchase them from Beetle and get each of your upgrades added to yourself. This is quite a bit of money. You can see that it costs 4,200 rupees in all, plus another 50 for the bug net, so this is not a cheap prospect buying all these items. And now that we're done buying, we can look and see what gear we have. There are 3 wallet upgrades, 3 heart pieces, Legata's sword, the knight armor, 5 adventure pouches, the upgraded wooden shield, the life medal, 2 bottles with whatever potions you want, the bug medal, an upgraded seed bag, the sailcloth, the slingshot, the bug net, along with a plethora of bugs and monster parts, and the first emerald tablet. We can also douse for Zelda with the sword and use the Skyward strike. And with that, that'll wrap up all the things that can power up Link in a Skyward sword. And once more, I'd like to thank you all for watching one of my videos, and please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share, as it really does help out the channel and costs you absolutely nothing. Thank you once more, and I'll see you in the next one.